Recap in minutes. Today we will be going through an action, war, and drama movie from 1965, called Battle of the Bulge. There will be spoilers ahead in this video, so chill out and enjoy. This classic movie begins in December 1944. A military intelligence officer, Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Kiley, and his pilot Joe are flying a reconnaissance mission over the region of rough terrain, forest, rolling hills and ridges, and parts bordering France and Germany. Joe requests him to go back, as they see no movement on the ground and the war is going to end soon. Suddenly they locate a German staff car, and Daniel orders him to take them there to photograph its passengers. They fly low over the car and take photographs. They swing low enough for a close-up that causes its driver to flee the car without stopping its engine. His commanding officer, Colonel Hessler, gets out of the car and reaches him. He says he is ashamed of him running like that. He orders him to get back to the car, and stop being afraid of an unarmed reconnaissance plane. He asks him to wear his cap and behave like a soldier. And he also scolds him for wasting petrol, which is extremely precious to the German war effort. Colonel Daniel and Joe buzz around the forest and take photographs, but could not spot the tanks under the trees. They swing over and turn back. While on the other hand, Colonel Hessler continues his journey and they reach a military installation in a war-torn area of the city. He stares at the destroyed buildings before entering the post. He reaches an underground base where a soldier escorts him to the office of General Kohler. He raises his moral, saying that Germany is strong, united, determined, and more productive than ever. The Allies think that their constant air raids have undermined their morale, but they are wrong. He tells Hessler that he is their finest panzer commander, and that he will lead them to victory. He shows him the latest pieces of development in German military engineering, a modern jet to shoot down every Allied plane, a V-2 rocket, and a new 70-ton King Tiger tank. Colonel Hessler appreciates the models and asks him what his next strategy is. He asks him to come with him to another bunker. Along the way, some soldiers in American uniforms stop them and hold them at gunpoint. Suddenly, Major Diapel appears and tells him that they are actually rehearsing a commando action. Major explains Operation Transit to them, saying that these soldiers will be parachuted behind the American lines to disrupt the enemy communication. Their teams are led by a man who has actually lived in America. Now the general takes him to the underground bunker, where he briefs him on the top-secret plan to pierce American lines and recapture Antwerp. He says it will take 18 months to recover, but Colonel Hessler tells him that the Allies have full air control, and they will smash their tanks, machine guns, and troops. The general shows him a weather report that states that low clouds and fog will ground all aircraft. He says they will have only 50 hours to forward their troops. The general put Colonel Hessler in command of their armored spearhead. Meanwhile, in American headquarters, General Gray hands over a counterintelligence report to Colonel Daniel. He briefs him that some German officers and men, who can speak English well, are going to conduct a special mission in our lines. Daniel confirms to him that they are preparing a fifth column to drop behind our lines. The general does not agree with him, saying that it is just an illusion. But Daniel says the Germans in this area have not accepted the defeat and they will attack. They do not listen, believing Germany lacks the resources and manpower to mount an attack, especially in winter, let alone with the Christmas holidays looming immediately ahead. Now a soldier comes inside and hands over his photographs to him. Colonel Daniel shows those pictures to the general, who observes a tank under the trees. The general ignores, but Daniel says he has suspicion that there are many Tiger tanks in that area. General Gray asks him to confirm his intelligence if he is so sure. Seeking proof, Daniel is sent to an outpost on the Siegfried Line to capture new prisoners for interrogation. After some time, Colonel Daniel goes to the frontline base and watches the Germans' movement with his binoculars. He gets inside the bunker and meets Major Wolensky. He asks him what the Germans are doing up front. He tells him that they do not have heat in their installation, so they keep doing the exercise to keep them warm. The colonel says he wants his men to do an exercise too, and proposes a night patrol to pick up some prisoners. Later on, he takes a sergeant with him and takes some German prisoners back. Colonel Pritchard arrives there in his absence, and surprises him, saying that he wants to see his way of interrogation. When they take the prisoners in the bunker, Pritchard asks Daniel, do they look like the soldiers of the undefeated enemy? He says they are just the kids like Sunday school classes. That is all they have left to put in the front lines. He asks him to go ahead and ask them if Germany is gonna win this war. Daniel says they could be plants put on the front lines to mislead them. This enrages Pritchard, who asks them to move the prisoners to the rear for the proper investigation. He asks Daniel what is on his mind. He tells him that the Germans might have replaced them for the seasoned men, and to prepare an offensive. Pritchard says he is a crazy man, facts and evidence are nothing to him. He says these things do not work in the war, and recommends him for transfer to a desk in Washington. The next moment, English-speaking German paratroopers, led by Lieutenant Schumacher, are dropped behind American lines disguised as American MPs to confuse and disrupt the Allies. They cut the Allies' communication lines and ease the way for their tanks to move ahead. The Germans are sending commands continuously from their underground base. Hessler launches his attack the next day, leading columns of German King Tigers, the largest and most powerful tanks of their army. Wolinski leads his men into the wooded area to fight back, but they are overrun. They tried all of their ammunition, machine guns, bazookas, and mortars, but they could not hold them back. Hessler radios back to the command room that they are facing a very weak resistance. Colonel Daniel hits one of their tanks, causing it to stop and block the road for the others. Hessler commands him to walk away from the road so they can move ahead. Daniel follows the tank and kills the soldier when he shows up. He drops the grenade into the tank in no time. After disabling this tank, he ran back to his men who were retreating from the field. Moments later, Hessler is in his command control vehicle and talks to his men too. He congratulates his men for the first surprise attack. He says American lines are in turmoil, so they must cross our river, before they realize they have launched an all-out offensive. He warns them that his command suffers the highest casualties. He will reach the objectives assigned to him, no matter what the cost is. General Kohler congratulates Colonel Hessler for this successful first attack. Hessler says they must secure the Our River Bridge to cross his tanks. The general assures him that they will cross the bridge on schedule. Suddenly a mine explodes directly under their vehicle. Hessler scolds Major Diapel for his mine detectors moving carelessly fast. He says they have lost a tank in multiple minutes unnecessarily. He orders him to repair his vehicle at once and move. On the other hand, Colonel Daniel reaches the headquarters and finds everyone in a panic. He informs General Gray that the Germans are pouring into their territory with brand new equipment. He says he saw inside one of their tanks and they can chew up anything they have got. The general asks him what their objectives are. Daniel replies that Hessler knows their plan. When the general says they should watch our river, as it is the only bridge that supports the heavy tanks, Daniel gets ready to go there. General Gray cautions him to be careful, as he has ordered him to blow the bridge. Meanwhile, the Americans are ordered to cross the bridge of our river, while the Germans uniformed as the American MPs, directing them in the wrong direction. After some time, the colonel meets them on the road and he asks Wolinski why they are heading to Malmedy. They were ordered to go to Ambulv. He says they were following those road signs the whole way. The colonel checks the pole and says they have been changed. Wolinski says the MPs were directing them that way. He asks him about the bridge, but he replies that the bridge was not blown when they crossed it. The colonel radios to the headquarters that some Germans uniformed as American MPs are holding our river bridge, and the bridge has not been blown yet. While on the bridge, an American tank finds the crowd MPs and opens fire at them, but in the meantime, German tanks enter the road and blow up that tank. Colonel Daniel reaches there and finds them crossing the bridge. He orders his men to inform the headquarters about this latest Krauts movement. He even kills the driver of one of their fuel-moving carriers. After some time, Hessler reaches near Ambulv and orders his battalion to take the bombardment position. General Gray telephones the high command that he is holding at Ambulv, but cannot last without heavy stuff. They ship him 2 anti-tank guns, but the Germans' MPs inform them of their departure. Their tank blows up the train in a tunnel. While outside of the city, Hessler attacks the military infrastructure with his tanks. His attack destroys the city buildings, scatters the military units, and blows up everything. Wolinski and his men grab the rifles to defend the city. While the other units hold the Germans for some time, they start to make them flee their tanks. Daniel notices them running back when General Kohler arrives there. As the Americans have improvised a strong defense at Ambulv, Kohler orders Hessler to bypass it, but Hessler wishes to break the Americans' will to fight, and reduce Ambulv to ashes, but Kohler relents. After some arguments, he gives him some hours to keep attacking the city. In the evening, they attack the city and destroy every standing building. The general orders Major Wolinski to cover their withdrawal. Hessler's tanks and infantry lay siege to the city, blowing their line of defense. Major tries his best to hold the Germans back behind the entrance, but they get defeated. Hessler captures the city. Suddenly a boy shoots him from a window, but he misses. His father comes running and begs Hessler to release his boy. He says he has got only this child, so spare him. Hessler orders him to release the boy and kill the father. After that, Major Wolinski comes to meet Hessler and requests him to give him a signed document, stating that his prisoners will not be massacred as they did in Malmedy. He gets shocked and says he does not know about this incident. He assures him that his prisoners will be treated according to the Geneva Convention, but will not give him anything in writing. Wolinski tries to provoke him, but he leaves him alive and sends him back to his men. He radios to the command center and asks General Kohler about the massacre of the American prisoners. He suspects SS soldiers but does not give him much information. Now the general, Colonel Daniel, and other senior staff safely escape to the Meuse River to regroup for a counterattack. They observe their troops from a distant position. While in the command vehicle, Hessler receives a phone call from his general that they have made farthest behind the enemy lines. He rejoices when he says the Führer will decorate himself after the battle. Conrad also congratulates him and asks if they have won the war. He says they have neither won the war, nor lost, but the important thing is, the war will go on and on. This intensifies Conrad, who asks him when he will see his sons, when he will go back home, and what will happen to his sons now. He replies that they will also become German soldiers and he will be proud of them. Back in the American base, the general ordered the scouts to check the course of German tanks. They tried but failed to locate them. Daniel takes Joe and asks him to take him up. Joe asks how they will see the German column when the visibility is 0. After some arguments, he ultimately takes him up. Despite the dangers of flying in fog and at night, Colonel Daniel conducts an aerial reconnaissance. He and Joe find Hessler's tanks through a gap in the fog and radio in the coordinates. The general thanks Colonel Daniel and orders his tanks to intercept the German column at that location. Then a German tank fire causes the plane to crash near an American fuel depot, killing Joe and wounding Daniel. While in the German command center, the general gets the latest weather report. He orders them to alert everyone about clear weather ahead. And in Hessler's command caravan, an exasperated Conrad confronts the colonel, calls him a warmonger, and demands a transfer. He says he believed him to finish the war, but he is a fool. Hessler transfers him to the fuel battalion after that. Meanwhile, General Gray's division prepares to fight, making the formation. The tank of Guffey hits the tank of Hessler, but nothing happens to him. He destroys their tank in just one shot. He informs the base that he is returning to refuel. When he reaches there, he observes that they are deliberately sacrificing their armor to bleed them dry. He yells at the major, asking the distance to the fuel depot. When he replies that it is 12 kilometers, he orders him to continue the battle there to let them believe that their strategy is succeeding. While he will take 15 tanks to the fuel depot. While in a headlong tank confrontation, the Americans employ a gambit to lure the Germans into using up the last of their fuel. General Gray orders the MPs to destroy the fuel depot immediately. Weaver, Guffey, and a few soldiers kill off Schumacher and his disguised MPs before the arrival of Hessler's tanks. The American tanks are savaged, but the strategy works. Wounded Daniel then staggers out of hiding and urges the men to burn the depot. Desperate Hessler makes a last-ditch effort to capture the depot. In defense, the Americans flood the road leading to it with gasoline and set it alight with grenades, immolating the German tanks and their crews. Hessler's tank takes a fuel drum rolled directly at it, and that incinerates him. General Gray arrives in time to see the panzers afire. The movie ends when the surviving German soldiers abandon their vehicles and begin a long walk back to Germany. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe recap in minutes for more videos like this, and help the channel grow.